Hello, Ampleforth. Yeah, clusters are mid-sized groups, usually between about 20 to 50 people. They're a group of people who are keen to be involved in outreach, and they share a common passion together about how they're going to do that. They're also, importantly, small enough to be still in relationship with each other, to know each other, but big enough to be able to engage in evangelism in a meaningful way. Well, Pip's brother, Paul, is the leader at St Tom's in Sheffield, Philadelphia, and through just spending time with them, we've seen how the church has changed and how the church has developed, been kind of on the journey with them and seen what clusters have meant to that church. So we've seen how it's meant that they've been able to engage with parts of the culture, the subcultures that are around Sheffield in ways that perhaps they might not have been able to. Yeah, actually, there are loads of churches in the country that I think are quite interested in it, and some are trying them now. What's interesting to me is that St Mark's Haydock, which is the church that we've kind of partnered with Cell at St Mike's, that they found the need to look into this, and they found that they're complementing what they're doing in their cells really well. It was interesting, I read something on their website where they talked about Lawrence Singlehurst, who we had at our cell training a couple of years ago, talking about how many hands you're holding, and that the more hands that you hold, as you receive from God, you're able to then bless those people whose hands you're holding. And the thing they've noticed with these mid-sized groups is that it enables them to hold more hands, and so that they are affecting more change through that. St Mark's Haydock, they call their clusters. They don't necessarily have to be called clusters. They call them they're two tiers, lake and river cells. The lake cells are what we see as the more traditional cells, the cells we're used to, and their kind of foundation comes from the church. It's kind of inherited church, and their river is the symbolism of flowing out from the lake into the communities, and that's what their mid-sized groups are, and they work alongside each other. The key thing with clusters is it's about the passion that group of people have for something. So some groups that Haydock have got, one is a walking group. That group of people, they enjoy walking in the countryside, so they'll go off, invite their friends to come on these walks with them, spend time chatting together, hopefully keep it very natural, very informal. And their kind of tagline is that, God in creation, we're going to spend time walking and thinking about that and talking about that. Another group would be one that's called Stepping Stones, which is a group of people who have a real heart for those who can't get to church, and so they take church to them. And another one would be MAD, which means make a difference, and they've got a real heart for their community that they live in, and wanting to go and help tidy it up, clean up. So they'll go out on the streets and they'll pick up litter, they'll remove graffiti, and as they do that, people in the community come and join them, and it's kind of a way again of including people in there. So that's three quite different things that look very different, but at the heart of them is that passion for including people and reaching out to people. Yeah, I think the key thing about these mid-sized groups is that they grow church, and it does that in a number of ways. Firstly, it's about evangelism, taking the gospel to people. Secondly, it's about enabling all people to do that, to be part of this evangelism that we're doing. Thirdly, it enables people to find out what their gifts are, and importantly then enables them to use them, encourages them to use them in this evangelism. And I think other advantages are that, for example, when we've been looking at cells and cells multiplying, often that's quite a painful process for cells. And what clusters does is provides the environment where these cells still meet together, these people still meet together. So say a cell multiplies into two cells, those cells, if they share the same vision, could meet as a cluster and be involved in the evangelism together, but meet as small groups at other times. So the relationships continue, but you still have that multiplication, and that makes things a little bit easier. And lastly, but really importantly, mid-sized groups are about planting, church planting basically. They're about taking the gospel to people who have not yet heard it or encountered the gospel, and that's got to be a good thing. It could happen in a whole variety of ways. It could be that two cells share a passion for a particular form of outreach, and we say to them, why don't you give it a go meeting together, 1 in 4, 1 out of every 4 meetings, to do the outreach aspect of your evangelism. It could be that there are a group of people who aren't necessarily in the same cell groups, but they share a same passion for something, something like Besom or football, and that we say to that group of people, why don't you gather around that shared passion that you have, and form this mid-sized group, and from that maybe small groups might emerge, after that, or it could be just that there's one person who comes and says, I've got this passion for something, I want to get involved in this form of outreach, and they gather people around them who share that passion. The key thing is that we say to these people or these groups, go for it, we recognise your passion, go for it, we'd love to see you do this.